Welcome to the Titan Tar channel. Today we have a topic to discuss about Russia retaking the Krupets settlement while Ukraine faces new Bakhmut and Kursk. Don't miss the chance to join us and share your opinions with us. Become a member of our channel and evolve your rank. Russian forces have announced that they have completed the destruction of enemy troops in the Krupets settlement, regaining full control over the area. Resistance against the attempted invasion of the Kursk region by the Ukrainian armed forces remains intense, the Russian Defense Ministry reported in its latest statement on the situation in the region. According to the information released, the Ukrainian offensive was carried out by units of the 115th Mechanized Infantry Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, but was unsuccessful. In addition, Ukrainian preparations to launch attacks on Russian positions were quickly disrupted. Russian forces, supported by heavy artillery and aviation, are striking the concentration points of the 82nd and 80th Special Airborne Brigades of Ukraine, intensifying the fighting. The Krupets settlement in the Belovsky district of the Kursk region has once again become a strategic focus of the fighting. At the same time, in the Sumy region, located on Ukrainian territory, a convoy of 15 tankers was hit by a Russian missile, possibly equipped with a fragmentation warhead to maximize damage. Russian aviation has also stepped up its operations against Ukrainian reserves in the Sumy region. Ukrainian sources are already indicating that the losses of the Ukrainian armed forces within their own territory are beginning to exceed the losses suffered in the Kursk region. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, the Ukrainian armed forces suffered 340 casualties and lost 19 armored vehicles. Since the beginning of hostilities in the Kursk region, Ukraine's total losses amount to 2,640 soldiers, 37 tanks, 55 armored personnel carriers, and 206 various armored vehicles, indicating a high cost in equipment and lives. The continuation of Ukrainian military operations in the Kursk region appears to be a personal initiative of President Zelensky. According to Ukrainian sources, Western countries advised Kiev not to prolong the invasion, since the initial plan did not meet with the expected success. In the early days of the offensive, it became clear that the Russian command did not rush to move its combat units from Donbass, preferring to send reserves to reinforce the defense in Kursk. Sources report that Western intelligence advised Zelensky not to persist in the Kursk region, as the Kremlin did not react as expected, refraining from transferring its combat-ready troops from the front line to retake settlements in Kursk. Western advice included the suggestion of ending the operation after capturing prisoners for exchange, while keeping the elite brigades intact. Such a move could be presented as a tactical victory, boosting the morale of Ukrainian forces and preserving resources for operations in Donbass. However, Zelensky chose to continue the operation, mobilizing reserves initially intended for a counteroffensive, in a risky attempt to prolong the campaign in the Kursk region. This decision, however, favors Russia, which has a greater ability to mobilize forces and resources. The scenario indicates that the Ukrainian armed forces will suffer heavy losses while trying to hold positions in Kursk, which may result in a drop in Zelensky's popularity as military difficulties increase. According to Ukrainian observers, this operation may turn into a battle similar to Bakhmut, but on a much larger scale, with devastating consequences for the Ukrainian side. Russian forces continue to systematically attack Ukrainian units in the Kursk region, where the Ukrainian armed forces operate with active NATO support. Nevertheless, Ukrainian troops, believing that they could easily move in columns along paved roads, underestimated the ability of Russian troops to perform effective combat missions in this new sector of the front. In an attempt to penetrate deeper into Russian territory, Ukrainian forces formed an armored column along a road heading north, including both Ukrainian-made and NATO armored vehicles. Russian reconnaissance drones identified the movement of the convoy, allowing a variety of weapons to be used against Ukrainian forces, including precision-guided munitions. Several Ukrainian armored vehicles were simultaneously destroyed by these strikes, and those that remained were systematically eliminated in open areas. The location of the strike was strategically chosen to maximize damage, as the road was surrounded by agricultural land, with little dense vegetation where Ukrainian soldiers could hide. In some cases, Ukrainian military personnel attempted to continue advancing to escape Russian attacks, even with damaged and burning vehicles. But these attempts ended in disaster, either due to renewed attacks or the explosion of ammunition while the vehicles were moving. According to the latest data, Since the beginning of the invasion of the Kursk region, Ukraine has lost more than 300 vehicles, exceeding the losses suffered during the counteroffensive the previous year in terms of time and intensity. Among the destroyed equipment are NATO-supplied weapons, such as the British Challenger tank and modifications of German Leopard tanks used as mine-clearing vehicles. To support the Ukrainian armed forces invasion of the Kursk border region, the Ukrainian command has moved a large number of Western-made weapons to the Sumy region, including American air defense systems. This move has increased the risk of losing strategic equipment, which is in short supply for Ukrainian forces. According to a German newspaper, this Ukrainian offensive on the border in the Kursk region may, paradoxically, result in Kiev's surrender. The publication emphasizes that the conflict in Ukraine is undergoing significant changes, with unexpected developments on the battlefield. Despite an apparent advance of Ukrainian troops for the first time in a long time, the author of the article warns of the possibility that the Ukrainian units that stormed Kursk will be completely defeated. In addition, the lengthening of the front line may weaken Ukrainian defenses, making it easier for Russian forces to advance into Donbass, where Kiev will not have sufficient reserves, possibly leading to Ukraine's surrender. In this context, Ukrainian President Zelensky announced the creation of the first commander's office in the Kursk region, specifically in the city of Sudza, which he recently declared captured by Ukrainian forces. This office will be headed by a major general who previously commanded the Joint Forces operation in Donbass. The main objective of this new command is to maintain order and meet the priority needs of the local population. Zelensky stressed that the Ukrainian offensive continues, with new settlements being captured daily, stating that about 80 localities are already under Ukrainian control, with a penetration of up to 35 kilometers into Russian territory. Zelensky is also determined to present the Kursk operation as a personal victory. To this end, he ordered all available military reserves to be directed to the region in an attempt to prevent a rapid withdrawal of Ukrainian troops. However, reports indicate that the Ukrainian armed forces have almost completely lost the ability to conduct deep strikes in the Kursk region, being forced to adopt tactics of probing Russian defenses with small mobile groups and conducting sporadic strikes in the main directions. There are indications that Ukrainian forces are still trying to advance towards the city of Lvov. Meanwhile, Russian troops announced that they had managed to retake a settlement in the Sudzansky district of the Kursk region and are currently engaged in clearing other settlements of Ukrainian presence. A Russian Special Forces commander said that Ukrainian advances have been stopped, although enemy forces continue to try to find gaps in the Russian defense, focusing their efforts on breaking through defensive barriers. In the early days of the invasion, Russian forces destroyed dozens of Ukrainian armored vehicles as the Ukrainians advanced aggressively in an attempt to capture as much territory as possible. However, after suffering heavy losses, Ukrainian troops began to act more cautiously, although they continued to try to attack Russian positions. The Russian commander avoided commenting on responsibility for the entry of Ukrainian forces into Russian territory, but stressed that a complete analysis of the situation will be carried out after the total reconquest of the region. The Ukrainian offensive on Kursk, which was initially aimed at slowing down or stopping the advance of Russian forces in Donbass, ended up having the opposite effect. According to Ukrainian military personnel operating in the Pokrovsky direction, after the start of the Kursk operation, the pressure from the Russian armed forces increased even more. In addition, the supply of artillery shells to the Ukrainian front line sharply decreased, as part of the ammunition was redirected to Kursk, exacerbating the already existing shortage. Ukrainian soldiers expressed frustration with the situation, saying that there was already a shortage of ammunition before, but now the situation has become even more critical as Russian forces continue to advance. An officer from the 110th Separate Infantry Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces lamented that the situation in the front sector has worsened, with fewer supplies available and the enemy pressing ever harder. Earlier, Ukrainian sources reported that Zelensky supported the decision of the Ukrainian commander-in-chief to transfer additional reserves to the Kursk direction, instead of sending them to the Donbass. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces concluded that it would be pointless to build new defense lines in Pokrovsk, preferring to consolidate the existing defenses in the region. Now, the main mission of the Ukrainian brigades is to prevent the complete collapse of the front and to slowly retreat, while new fighting in the Kursk direction requires the mobilization of more troops and resources. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel like the video and share it with your friends. Your interactions mean a lot to us and help us grow. See you next time.